out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and we're going to continue on our ongoing reviews of all of the episodes of Young Justice, all throughout Season 1, Season 2, and leading up into Season 3, which is going to release out sometime next year on the DC Direct Service, which, well, hopefully by that time, somebody in this group is going to be partaking in that. To get the introductions out of the way, I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
We are actually on episode number 3, which is Welcome to Happy Harbor, and that one actually aired out initially on January 21st, 2011. It's kind of funny because the first 2 episodes, which happened as a special event, a premiere event, those aired out on November 26, 2010, and there was literally like over a month break. Mm-hmm. So I guess if you say that if this wasn't an indication of the type of support that Cartoon Network was going to give the series, it's kind of a sketchy indication from the get-go, but I digress. All right. We're going to do like we did with the previous episodes. We're going to go ahead and do a short review. We're going to give you our thoughts, what we liked, what we didn't like, or if we had a choice, what we would change. And also, go ahead and discuss, hey, this is the sort of thing that I picked up now that I've seen it, second, third, 12th, 15th, 64th time, like I said before, that actually sets up or is a big hint to things that are coming in the future. All right, quick synopsis. Basically, you have the brand new team, Aqualad, Robin, Superboy, Kid Flash, and Miss Martian, all there at Mount Justice, pretty much all set alone. No missions, no nothing going on, and they are simply told by Red Tornado to go ahead and enjoy their time together. During that time, while they're flying out around Happy Harbor, New England, turns out they run into a particular villain called Mr. Twister. Thinking that it's the Red Tornado in disguise, just going ahead and giving them a test or something like that, they confront Mr. Twister, with that sort of with that pre-conclusion in mind, and turns out they were wrong. They get their butts kicked. Everybody seems to fall apart as far as them not trusting each other, them not feeling like they're a team. Things go sour. Then all of a sudden, when they go ahead, they reconfront Mr. Twister. Miss Martian comes back. She's got a plan. They go ahead. They defeat him. Finds out that Mr. Twister is actually after Red Tornado himself, trying to go ahead and get to him to go ahead and actually reprogram him. And we find out that Mr. Twister is connected to, I believe, Dr. T.O. Morrow and Bromwell Stick, which is the guy that was supposed to be piloting Mr. Twister, but turned out that was another android inside also. Once all of that happens, basically they end up saying, oh, well, even though they lost Mr. Twister and the armor and everything else, Dr. T.O. Morrow says that the information that they gathered, even though it was a failure, was actually really, really valuable. And that's pretty much where they end the episode. All right? So, on with the proceedings. I'm going to open up the floor right now, guys. What is the one thing that you liked, or one of the one things that you picked up that you liked about this episode?
The interaction with everyone. Once again, you start learning about them and their limitations as things go along. They gave you a tour of Happy Harbor. They gave you the thing about the Bioship, the Bioship's capabilities, which is owned by Miss Martian. They can go camouflage. It can travel at a great speed. You find out what Kid Flash's limitations are. They start revealing secret identities to each other, with a couple of exceptions. And then you have the whole naivete with Miss Martian, and then Superboy's anger issue that really comes into play in this episode, with things being built up and things falling apart. I really like the interaction with those characters as far as that regard, and we know and we see the maturity that involves with Calderon, aka Aqualad, to try to keep things together at certain points.
Cool. What about you, Gray Mouse? What stood out to you as one of the things you liked about this particular episode?
I like the fact that they're not a team yet. That's a good thing. It's like they didn't just all of a sudden, okay, so because in the previous episode, you know, they were just forming up, and then to have the third episode to where they're still not quite there yet, they're still not trusting each other there, you know, the trust ain't there, the teamwork obviously isn't there. It's like Robin again goes off on his own, as always, you know, well, not as always, but as far as up to the point where we're at now, you know, so you're seeing team building, and, you know, pretty much like what the theme just said, you know, you're seeing team building and learning each other's limitations and quote unquote powers. And I kind of like how they even went back to Speedy again, trying to get him like, hey, we're a team now. Why don't you come back? Or why don't you come home with us, you know, to the Mount Justice? And, you know, it's great. He was telling, you know, the guys were telling how great it is while fighting a villain, which was kind of funny. But yeah, I do like the fact that they're not a team yet. And I like that that they're in the process of building up, trusting each other, learning each other's powers, what they can and cannot do, and then throwing in, you know, other story elements along with it. You know, the Speedy element, and then, like you said, towards the end, you know, that with Twister, you know, like what test is that? What test was excellent? You know, even though they failed, but what's going on? I like that.
Yeah, I think one of the things about this that I really liked, you know, yes, I like the team building. I also like the fact that we're learning more about the characters and everything else. But one of the things that kind of that was that I really liked was the fact that you know, the inclusion of Red Tornado as the guy who's supervising them. Okay. You know, and the guy who's actually taking care of them or chaperoning things over there at Mount Justice and everything. You know, his whole thing from the get-go, especially right when things fell apart, and Miss Martian was asking, you know, are you going to help us? He was like, this isn't my battle, okay? And then when they went ahead, they finally get back to the base. You know, they're sitting there. They're telling him, you know, they're like, yeah, you know, this is one of those things where, you know, this is what we found. It's a robot, and he was obviously after you, you know. And they're like, so why didn't you go out there and help us? And he was like, his response was simply, this was your battle. I do not believe it is my role to solve your problems for you, nor should you solve mine for me. Okay? And he's very, very straightforward about that. And the thing about that is that sort of thing like pops up the whole time. You know, it's one of the, I think the funny thing about it is that it kind of points out that Batman is like, okay, these guys need supervision, somebody to go ahead and hold down the fort, or to go ahead and if things, you know, get too crazy, you know, somebody who has access to the League directly to go ahead and they'll be able to pull them into whatever they need. At the same time, though, Red Tornado is not a fatherly figure. Okay, he's not human. Okay, he's not beholden to emotions or a lot of those things like that. So when it comes to, hey, look, this is a thing that you have to solve. This is a problem that you created and everything else. He's going to leave it up to them. All right. Now, whether or not that's something that Batman foresaw, we don't know at this time. All right. Okay. To continue on with our particular review, what was something that you did not like in the episode, or now that we've seen it again, what would you change if there was something that didn't sit well with you that you would choose to go ahead and change?
I appreciate the Superboy anger issues, but I think they just needed to tone it down just a little bit with that. Even though it is his character at this point in time, but it has character development involved. I just think that they should have toned it down just a little bit, especially, you know, he took it very, very, very personally when Miss Martian was reading his mind and everybody else's mind, or communicating with them through telepathy. I mean, Superboy let her have it the whole freaking episode. The whole freaking episode, he was focused on her and just like, damn. But you see what it's developing into between those two. And then you have Wally just hitting on Miss Martian, just hitting on her. And that just takes place. And it's like, okay, yeah, these are teenagers and all, but they're superheroes. So I kind of understand, but they just toned it down just a little bit.
Let's see. What about you, Grey Mouse? What did you think? Was there anything you didn't like or anything you would have changed now that you've seen this, the second or third time?
I think the ones that I was going to complain about, Theme already did. I did feel that they were trying to push this Kid Flash romance thing a little too much. It felt that way because he was like always in Miss Martian's face. I mean, constantly in her face. I mean, I understand attraction. I understand they're teenagers and hormones are going wild. But I mean, even Robin was partaking in it a little bit as well. So I mean, I mean, it's fine, I guess. But yeah, that's the only thing that I could really think of that really bothered me.
Yeah, I'd have to say that if there was, by and large, I'm not bothered by this particular episode. I'm not bothered by too many things in this episode. But yeah, if there was one thing that I would sit there and change, a little bit, is maybe tone down the amount of, like the theme and like you said, the amount of teenage angst and hormonality that everybody was running around with. But let's just face it, they're teenagers and they're going to be stupid. Well, we've all been there.
I think was the fact. I guess they were trying to really pull that. They're a bunch of teenagers and they're getting cabin fever. Is pretty much what happened in this episode. They were antsy. They want to be pulled out or given missions all the time. I mean, even when they went to go greet Red Tornado, they're like, what did Batman say? What did Batman say? Give us a mission. They were getting a little antsy and they were also getting, a little cabin fever. So, yeah, I mean,
that's what they're there for, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like you said, Theme, it was just a little bit too much, a little on the nose. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But, putting all things in context, we understand why they do that. It's just maybe just a little too on the nose for our liking. Again, though, we're seeing this for maybe like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 12th, 16th, 54th time. All right. So take it as you will. All right. Given that in mind, now that we've seen it the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 12th, 54th, 60th time, what was one thing that you picked up now in watching this episode that is like, whoa, wow, this really sets up something that happens in the future, in future episodes, or something that's going to happen with a major storyline arc down the road?
Hello, Megan. Look, you see, you can kind of see her fixations with Superboy. That's obvious. You see Wally's fixations with her. You see Robin going out on his own. You see Superboy's anger issues. You see, and Aqualad, he's the most level-headed. You see all of that. Plus, Robin with his little catchphrases, okay, anything that's this, he'll take away, like distraught, he'll say trot. It's kind of, are you disturbed? Well, yeah, get turbed. He starts doing that. Yeah, there are a couple of things that set things up down the line, but Hello, Megan was the thing that caught me the most.
Let's see. What about you, Grey Mouse?
I just go right into it. The whole Red Tornado thing, there's a couple of story arcs that's going to happen later that involves him. Why was Twister wanting to reprogram Red Tornado? So that is a major plot later. And, that's something that I picked up. It wasn't as, now that I know, hindsight's 2020, right? Now I know what's happening later. I like, oh, okay, now it makes more sense and the cryptic messages that Dr. What's his name again?
Morrow.
Morrow. Yeah, it makes more sense now what he said because we know what's going to happen later. So yeah, I mean, again, you know, DC does it again. Or I'm sorry, Animation, Warner Brothers Animation did it again, and they're setting these plots up, and you don't really know what's going on unless you watch the whole series, and then it just makes a lot more, you know, it's like more eureka moments, like, oh, okay, it makes sense, it makes even more sense, these little hints that they give you. Yeah,
definitely. Just like the first two episodes, there are a lot of things that they're setting up. Like you said, one that I had noted down was the whole Red Tornado thing and Mr. Twister going after him specifically.
Yeah,
and then showing Dr. Morrow at the end, and then the other thing that I noted was related to what the theme was saying about, you know, Megan, you know, Miss Martian. Hello, Megan. Her whole thing about the cookies. All right. When the cookies burn, and she runs back to the
episode. Yep.
Yeah, when she runs back to the kitchen, she sits there and she goes, "Oh no, I was trying out Granny Jones' recipe from episode 17 of you know, which if you sit there, if this is the first time you're watching it, it sounds really kind of out of place, but when you actually get into a lot of her background a lot later, I mean literally 20 episodes later, this makes a lot of fucking sense. All right.
That was the thing. That's why I said, hello, Megan, because that alone spells out a lot that's going to be happening later.
You know, I could add that to one of the things I hate. I hate that. It just makes her, I mean, it makes her look, I know she's imitating, you know, Earth culture or whatever, but it irritates the fuck out of me every time she says that. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say that. It just irritates, it just gets under my skin. It's like, because she is not a bimbo, and that's what it, you know, it just irks me. That's one thing that irks me is that hello shit.
Well, not so much a bimbo, but I'd have to sit there and say that it's definitely an airhead catchphrase. Right?
Yeah,
and it's something that, you know, as the funny thing is that I don't think she says it at all in the second season at all. Once they get past that, she stops saying that, and you know, and once everybody finds out what that's from, you know, she completely gets past that, which actually is another cool thing. But you know, I think we've come full circle and we've covered everything in this particular one. We've run down the synopsis, what we liked, what we didn't like, or the things that we could have changed, and also the big setups that we've seen so far. Was there anything else that we wanted to go ahead and add to this particular one?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too.
Yeah, actually, I think we're actually around 16 minutes with this. We're doing pretty well. So I'm going to marvel at this because, you know, sooner or later we're going to actually get this down to like 15 minutes on a consistent basis. And, you know, that's going to be something.
I think that would actually depend on the episode because there are certain episodes that have way too much to it. This is just an introduction stage. But
True, but I'm just saying for our own sakes because we're still really, really new to this. All right. But yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts on episode number 3 of season number 1, Welcome to Happy Harbor, that was aired out originally on January 21st, 2011. Oh, wow. Geez, that's 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. Yeah. All right. Like I said, if you're looking for a spoiler warning, this episode is, you know, almost 7 years old. So please don't ask for that. All right. But I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for our particular review of episode number 3 of season 1 of Young Justice. Welcome to Happy Harbor. We'd like to know, what do you think about the review? What did you think about the episode? If you watched it, you know, like we say at the end of every video, you know, tell us what you think. Leave us a comment below. While you're at it, mash that like button. You know, hit subscribe if you like to. Every comment that you leave below is the start of a brand new conversation. And like we say with every good conversation, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree. As long as you stop, you take a moment to consider what we're actually talking about, then we'll walk away knowing that we've actually accomplished a lot more than you could ever imagine. All of our bullshit on this particular episode review ends right here. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here:
Rare Mouse One.
every form of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.